Hey everybody, World's Hairiest Cheerleader here. Thank you for joining me again today. Today's going to be a little bit of a tough one. I kind of broached on it yesterday, but when I was talking to the therapist and she asked, what are some of the defining moments in your life that, had a big impact on you, good or bad? I had several. A lot of them were good. Some of them weren't good at the time, but they turned out good. But there was one it's still hard to talk about because it had a pretty big impact on me at an early, well, not terribly early, but early 20s age. And it kind of goes back to high school. There was a young lady, and I'm definitely not going to name names because the world is small and keeps getting smaller. But I really liked her. And I got to know her and we got to hang out, and gradually, I fell in love with her. And I thought it was real, and although, as I've mentioned earlier, I was terrified to say anything about it or to even kind of broach it, we kept in touch long after she moved away with her family, and through the rest from our senior year in high school to a couple years into college. And we'd send each other gifts for the holidays or our birthdays. We kept up the correspondence, and eventually she invited me to come visit her. And I stayed with her and her sister and their two roommates. And I was going to let her know how serious I was. I was already looking at schools in the area to complete my education, seeing what opportunities were available. And we had a very nice visit. And as I'm getting on the plane, or as I'm packing my bags, I find a letter that says, "Do not open until you're in the air." That's never good. And yes, I am condensing this story quite a bit. I'm trying to keep it as not generic, but unidentifiable as possible. But I found it. I asked her about it. She said, please, just wait. So I get up in the air and I read the letter, and it's about as bad as you're probably thinking. The gist of it was, please don't contact me again. This was a mistake and not meant to happen. I'm sorry, but please don't contact me. And this gutted me in a way that nothing else ever had or has since, because it just came from out of nowhere. There was no indication that this was the way she felt. I had tried to make it known that I cared for her, but to say devastation is an understatement. It broke me. I ended up dropping out of school because the depression hit so hard. Lost scholarships and kind of made a mess of things for a while. And I'm still kind of cleaning up after it. I think I always will be. But, I just look back at everything I poured into this and all the opportunities I missed and all the people I missed along the way because I had put so much into this that was never going to be returned. And I kind of see that now. And I accept it. It's hard, but it is what it is. But that one moment probably had the single biggest impact on my life for quite a long time. And I don't like talking about it because, well, obvious reasons. I had gone all in and, was ready to upend everything. And then to be told out of the blue with no warning, it was difficult to say the least. And the reason I'm mentioning that is I've learned to be a little more cautious. But it's just something that hurt. And was probably truly my first breakdown, I should say. And it's never fun to talk about, but, I think it was time and it was needed. Now, how have I changed? Well, like I said, I'm a little more cautious. I still care about people. I still love freely. I try to be a lot more open and upfront with my communication, especially when feelings can be involved. And I never, ever want to see someone else go through what I went through. But it's hard because we don't know it's going to end like that when we start. We want to think that we've found the love of our life, or that the world is a beautiful, magical place. And it is. I truly believe that. But sometimes you got to get kicked down first to see it and to accept it. And yeah, it's not easy. But, I think I'm a better person for it. I try to be a lot more understanding. I try to be a little bit more transparent. But I also, I don't give up on love. I don't give up on people. And, I try to keep the good. And I have no ill will towards her. I have no bad feelings. I don't want anyone to think that. I'm definitely not bitter. A little wistful. You'll always wonder what might have been. But you're like that with everything. And I'd like to think that the things that happened to me then have benefited me now. And I'm finally getting, as I've said many times, I'm getting to a place where I like where I'm at. And I like who I am. And that's been incredibly tough for me. Because, I don't always like who I am. I don't always like what I've been. And I think that had a lot to do with it. And I try not to dwell on it. But, it comes back to my head every once in a while. So, when I talked to the therapist, and, she asked me to do that exercise, that is probably the thing that has had one of the biggest impacts on who I am and where I am. And I'd like to think I'm a better person for having gone through it. I know this has been a little bit longer than normal. I'm not going to apologize for that, because that's another bad habit I'm trying to break, is apologizing. But, 30 plus years of habits are hard to break. I do want to thank you all for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, I'm always open to hearing it. Please leave a comment in the comment below if you'd like. As always, like, share, subscribe. And as we're inching ever closer towards 30 subscribers, I will be doing the wand giveaway. And I'll even give you a choice. You can pick one of the ones I already have, or if there's an idea you have in mind. Keeping in mind I don't do the screen accurate ones, I do my own interpretations. I'd be happy to make you a custom one. Thank you all very much. Hang in there. You're loved. I love you. And I'll always be here for you. I got 2 shoulders at the moment, they're both dry. And I've got an ear. Thank you all very much.